We've all been there, setting goals with the best of intentions only to find ourselves feeling overwhelmed, burned out, or simply stuck. But here's the thing, goal setting doesn't have to be about pushing yourself to the brink of racing against the clock. It's more about crafting a life that actually aligns with who you are, moving at a pace that feels right for you. So let's talk about a goal-setting framework that's more about compassion than hustle, and one that actually honors your individuality and helps you achieve what matters without sacrificing your well-being. Okay, so here's the deal. Setting goals isn't just about checking things off a list. It's about creating a path that brings you closer to the life you want to live. But the way we often approach goals, chasing after them with relentless speed, can lead to stress, burnout, and actually a lot of disappointments. So psychologists like Paul Gilbert, who's all about compassion-focused therapy, say that when we set goals with kindness and patience, we're not only more likely to achieve them, but also to enjoy the journey. Instead of treating goals like some high-stakes race, we can approach them as a gentle pursuit of what matters to us. So your goals should reflect what's important to you. They should be value-driven, not what society says you should care about. When your goals align with your core values, they become less about ticking boxes and more about living authentically. It's also easy to set goals based on what we think we should do, but what about what feels right for you right now? Mindful goal setting means being honest about where you are and setting goals that resonate with your current situation and not anyone else's. Also, life throws curveballs, and your goals should bend with the wind instead of breaking, and flexibility allows you to adjust your goals without feeling like you failed. As you work towards your goals, you should treat yourself with kindness. This isn't about letting yourself off the hook, which actually is an expression that I really hate. It's about recognizing that setbacks happen and being gentle with yourself when they do. This means that you should forget about working throughout the night. Your goal should be something you can maintain over time without wearing yourself out. So you need to find a rhythm and consistency that works for you. And I know that we're always talking about consistency in this channel, but consistency needs to be dynamic, which means it needs to be sustainable and it needs to adapt to your specific schedule. So let's talk about the WOOP framework. So WOOP stands for Wish, Outcome, Obstacle, and Plan. This is a goal-setting method that's rooted in reality, but fueled by dreams. It's all about connecting what you want with what's actually possible, in a way that's kind to yourself. So when you're thinking about your wish, you need to know what you want. Seriously, what do you actually want? This isn't about what you think you should want. It isn't about what others expect from you. It's identifying a goal that genuinely resonates with you, something that feels right in your bones. Now imagine the best possible result. Picture it in very vivid detail. How it looks, how it feels, how it will change your life. This isn't daydreaming. It's actually about getting emotionally connected to what you're striving for. Then you should think about what's standing in your way. Think about both the external challenges and the internal ones, like self-doubt or procrastination. The key here is to recognize these obstacles with kindness and not judgment. And finally, make a plan. But not only any plan, it should be a flexible one. Think about small, manageable chunks you can take to move towards your goal, with plenty of room for adjustments along the way. So now that we've been through a kind of overview of each one of these steps, let's break them down even further. Let's walk through a step-by-step exercise that you can do on paper or in your favorite productivity app like Notion. This exercise will help you set a goal that feels good, visualize its outcome, identify obstacles, and create a plan that works for you. Okay, so let's go to step number 1, defining your wish. What is your wish? This is where you get to dream a little. Think about an area of your life that you'd like to improve or a new skill you'd like to develop, but remember that this wish should be something that feels truly meaningful to you. Example, maybe your wish is to write a book. Now you need to visualize the outcome. Close your eyes and imagine the best possible outcome of achieving your wish. What does it look like? How does it make you feel? So let's connect emotionally with that goal, which makes it all the more motivating. So here in our book example, you can picture yourself feeling that sense of achievement once you finish writing your book. You have this sense that you are actually able to do something creative, something you can share with the world. Maybe writing this book was also a journey that allowed you to explore new feelings and new situations and new relationships. And it may even help you handle stress or other obstacles that you're going through. Okay, so now think about what might get in your way. Be honest with yourself. What are the real obstacles both inside and outside? When you acknowledge the obstacles, you're recognizing them and you can make a plan to make sure you're not going to suffer the biggest impact when they actually start hindering your progress. So if you want to write a book and feel all the good feelings that we've just mentioned, well, one of the big obstacles is going to be finding it hard to carve out time for writing every single day, finding the motivation and the creative fuel to actually put words on paper, being able to accept feedback from others once people start reading your book. And if you do want to get traditionally published, which is my case, then you'll have to go through a whole emotional roller coaster once you start querying. Okay, so with your wish, your outcome, and your obstacles in mind, it's time to actually create a plan. But remember that the plan should be flexible, something that allows for life's ups and downs. Think about small steps you can take at your own pace and be ready to adjust as you go. So for instance, with our example, you can start with just 5 minutes of writing every single day. You can also use a word count goal instead of a time-based goal. You can choose a time that feels right for you. Maybe it's the first thing you do in the morning or you do it right before bed. If you miss a day, don't sweat it. Once again, we want to think about dynamic consistency and not daily consistency specifically. Just pick it up again the next day if you fail one day or 1 week. Gradually increase your writing time as it becomes a habit, and then considering using an app, for instance, to guide you if you find it helpful. Scrivener, for instance, in the case of writing a book, is very helpful. And you also have other apps, goal-setting apps and habit trackers that really help you with this. And step number 5 is going to be reflecting and adjusting. So goal setting with this system, WOOP, it's not a one and done deal. It's an ongoing process that really benefits from regular check-ins. I think it's so important to take some time every week or month to reflect on how you're actually doing. Are you moving towards your goal in a way that feels good? Do you need to tweak your plan? Do you even really like this goal? Or do you want to move on to something different? And when it comes to balancing these goals with life, I think that one of the best things about the WOOP framework is that it's very flexible. First of all, remember you should put self-care first. So your well-being is the foundation for everything else. Make sure that whatever goal you're setting, it's supporting your self-care and not undermining it. If your goal is causing you stress, not because there's a sense of urgency, like that kind of exciting urgency in completing your goal, but because it's really turning your life upside down, maybe it's time to rethink it. Instead of rigid deadlines, also give yourself gentle timelines. It's not like you want to set a goal and you're not setting a deadline, so you just can go with the flow. I think it's important to set a deadline, but the deadline needs to be realistic. It needs to account for unexpected events and meetings that spill over and things that happen in life that you cannot predict when you're planning. And this will really help you enjoy the journey and focus on the process rather than just the outcome. So picking our book example, this is so easy to explain. You want to enjoy the process of writing and not only just fix on having a book in your hands, a completed manuscript in your hands. If you're losing the joy in the writing process, this is probably not the right time to write, or you should consider your routine in a different way, or even the type of book that you're writing in a different way. So just to conclude, goal setting is about more than just getting things done. It's really about creating a life that feels true to you. By using this framework that we've mentioned, and anyone can use it, you're approaching your goals with self-compassion, with mindfulness, with flexibility, and you can achieve what matters most to you in a way that is actually sustainable and fulfilling. If staying informed is a top priority for you, then you'll love today's sponsor, Ground News, a website and app designed to help you pull back the curtain on media bias, and who are kindly sponsoring today's video. Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown of the political bias, factuality, and ownership of the sources reporting, all backed by ratings from 3 independent news monitoring organizations. For example, here's a story on landmark legislation to regulate large AI models. All of the necessary information is organized along the right-hand column. The coverage details section breaks down the number of reporting outlets and provides a summary of the political bias. Below that, you have the bias distribution, which shows where those reporting outlets fall on the political spectrum. And below that, you have the ownership and factuality charts. Then on the left, you have all the headlines and articles organized by political bias. I especially like the blind spot feed, which highlights stories that are disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. Ground News provides all the tools you need to be a critical thinker, and I cannot recommend it enough, so I'm offering 40% off their Vantage subscription. You can only access this discount through my code, so click the link in the description box below to support an independent news platform working to make the media landscape more transparent. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you next week.